Most people think the biggest change in British shopping was the rise of supermarkets, but in 1972, the weekly shop was a deliberate multi-stop ritual. Families planned around shop closing hours and counted every coin because decimal currency was still brand new. Only 20% of groceries came from supermarkets, and nearly every doorstep still saw a milkman. But hidden in all this careful routine was a single boundary that quietly shaped everyday life. And when it vanished, shopping would never feel the same again. So how did a normal grocery run contain the seeds of a vanished world? Every week, the routine begins in the kitchen. The table holds the center of operations, a small notepad, a stub of pencil, and the memory of last week's meals. Before anyone steps outside, there is a quiet assessment. What is left in the bread bin? How much tea remains in the caddy? Whether the sugar tin feels light? The cupboards reveal what is missing, and the list forms slowly, shaped by habit and necessity. Most families plan for one main shop, usually on Friday evening after work or Saturday morning before the shops close at 1 o'clock. There is no clicking or scrolling, just the sound of a pen scratching on paper, sometimes a mental tally of pennies and pence. The list is not long, but every item matters. Milk, bread, eggs, butter, tea, sugar. These are the anchors. The rest, tinned beans or a treat for the weekend, depends on what is left in the purse. No one shops with a trolley at home. Instead, a woven string bag or a wicker basket waits by the door. Sometimes two, if the week's shop is ambitious. The bag itself is a limit. What you can carry is what you can buy. There is no car for most people, so everything must be light enough to bring back on foot or on the bus. The bag stretches with the weight of potatoes or a loaf, sometimes leaving a faint pattern on your arm. The ritual is not rushed. There is a rhythm to it, set by the clock and the calendar. Shops close early on Wednesdays, and everything shuts on Sundays. That means the main shop cannot be put off. If you forget something, there is no guarantee you can get it until the next week. The list is checked, double-checked. Some families keep a running note on the fridge or a scrap of paper tucked behind the bread box, adding items as they run out. Children might be sent to fetch a pint of milk or a loaf if it is needed urgently, but the big shop is a family event. There is a sense of purpose as the door shuts and the walk to the shops begins, list in hand, bags at the ready. The entire week's meals depend on this moment. The choices made now will echo through every breakfast, packed lunch and supper until the next Friday or Saturday comes around. The High Street in 1972 is a network, not a single destination. The weekly shop means choosing your route, the corner shop for basics, the butcher for meat, the greengrocer for fresh produce, and the baker for bread still warm from the oven. Each stop has its own regulars and its own rhythm. Most families split their list across several shops because supermarkets, those bright self-service stores, hold only about 20% of the grocery market. The rest belongs to independents and co-ops, places where the owner might know your name and remember your usual order. Supermarket names are starting to carry weight. Tesco, Sainsbury's, Fine Fare, international stores. Their aisles promise speed and convenience, but in 1972 they are still the exception, not the rule. Many of these stores cluster in bigger towns or city centres, while smaller communities rely on long-standing local shops. Even where a supermarket has opened, shoppers often visit for only part of the week's needs, tins and packets and household items, then return to the butcher or greengrocer for the rest. A retail historian puts it simply, supermarkets were at 20% in 1972, still a novelty. Barcodes waited until 1979. The old ways hold strong. The cooperative or co-op is a fixture, especially in working-class neighborhoods. Members collect dividend stamps and save them for Christmas or big purchases. The The co-op's dividend book becomes a kind of family ledger, a record of thrift and loyalty. For many, the co-op is more than a shop. It is a community anchor, a place where the price of tea or sugar is discussed as much as the weather. Independent grocers dot every neighborhood. Some offer credit, letting customers pay at the end of the week when wages come in, a quiet trust built over years. The butcher's window displays thick slices of bacon and whole chickens, while the greengrocer's crates spill over with potatoes, carrots and apples, their prices chalked on wooden boards. The bakery's shelves hold hovis, sun-blessed, and loaves baked on site, the air tinged with yeast and flour. Shopping here takes time. Each shopkeeper weighs and wraps, and sometimes chats about the week's news. For many, the walk from shop to shop is as much a social outing as a necessity. The route rarely changes, and the faces behind the counters are as familiar as the products on the shelves. By the time you reach the shop doorway, the list in your hand is matched by a mental map. Each stop, each conversation, each decision about what will fill the bag on the way home. Shelves in 1972 are not crowded with endless choices. Instead, each product feels deliberate. The familiar blue and white of a Hovis loaf sits beside Sunblessed, or a crusty round from the local bakery. Tea is boxed in sturdy packets. PG Tips, Typhoo, Brook Bond stacked in neat rows, their logos unchanged for years. Tins line the shelves, each one a small guarantee against an empty larder. Heinz baked beans, tomato soup, oxtail, Del Monte peaches or pineapple in syrup, tinned peas and carrots. These are not luxury items, they are insurance. The foundation for a week's meals if the weather turns, or the shops close unexpectedly. Household goods are just as steady. Bars of Lux and Imperial leather soap, their wrappers thick and waxy, promise dozens of washes. Washing powder comes in heavy cardboard boxes, Persil, Daz, Omo and Surf. Each box weighty enough to make a child struggle. Cleaning supplies are practical and straightforward. Vim in a cardboard tube, Ajax in a tin, Flash in a glass bottle with a screw cap. Most bottles are glass, their sides cool and slick, and there is a certain heft to carrying them home. Cardboard is everywhere. Cereal boxes, soap powder, biscuits, sturdy enough to be reused or flattened for the bin. Plastic is rare, a novelty rather than the norm. Milk and squash still come in glass, only a few brands experiment with plastic, and most shoppers eye them with suspicion. The aisle becomes a kind of memory palace. Each shelf is shaped by habit and need. There is no sense of urgency. Instead, there is a slow consideration, a weighing of what will last, what will stretch furthest. Brands are chosen not for novelty, but for what they promise. Reliability, a taste that does not change, packaging that survives the trip home and the week ahead. Familiarity is a comfort. A tin of Heinz beans or a packet of Typhoo tea is a small anchor in a world where prices might rise by the month and where every penny must be counted. The shop itself feels different because of these choices. There is less waste, less noise, less clutter. The packaging is made to endure, not to catch the eye for a fleeting second. The weight of a glass bottle in your bag, the scrape of a cardboard box against your hip. These are reminders that shopping is not just about buying, but about planning, preserving, and making do. Each item on the shelf carries the week's hopes with it, sturdy and dependable, ready to see a family through until the next list is made. Before the first bag is filled or a single coin is counted, every household faces the same calculation. How long will it last, and where will it go? In 1972, the answer depends not just on what you buy, but on what you can keep fresh. Only about 15% of homes have a freezer. For most families, a larder or a cool pantry stands in for modern refrigeration. That is why tins and jars line so many shelves, beans, soups, fruit in syrup, each one a hedge against spoilage and a guarantee that dinner will be possible even if the weather turns or the shops close early. But the real anchor of daily life arrives before breakfast, often before the street is awake. The milkman, a figure as familiar as the postman or the dustbin lorry, glides through the neighborhood in a quiet electric float. At his peak, he visits 94% of British homes, leaving glass bottles in wire baskets on doorsteps. The sound of bottles clinking together is a kind of morning bell, fresh milk for tea, for porridge, for baking. It is not just convenience, it is trust. The delivery comes rain or shine, and the empties are left out for collection, rinsed and ready for reuse. Some families leave a note in the window for an extra pint or a few coins tucked under the mat. The milkman knows the routines, the holidays, the new baby in number 12, the pensioner who needs an extra bottle on Thursdays. Decimalisation has arrived, and sometimes there is a pause at the doorstep. Does 5p cover the usual order? But the service keeps moving, steady as ever. Without a freezer, the idea of shopping in bulk is out of reach for most. Fresh food is bought in small amounts, just enough to last until the next trip out. Bread is eaten quickly. Vegetables bought in handfuls, not sacks. Tinned goods fill the gap, offering security against a sudden shortage or an unexpected guest. Even the packaging reflects this logic. Glass bottles for milk and squash, thick cardboard for soap and cereal, tins for beans and peaches. Everything is designed to last a week or more, to survive a journey home and a few days in a cool cupboard. This rhythm shapes every decision in the shop. The milkman's early call means there is always tea for breakfast. The absence of a freezer means every tin, jar and packet is chosen with an eye to how long it will last and how well it will keep. Storage is not just a matter of space, it is a matter of security. Each item in the basket is a small promise that the week ahead will be covered, no matter what the weather, the shops, or the world outside might bring. Money in 1972 is not abstract. It is weighty, metallic, and always present in the palm of your hand. Every price is measured not just against the list in your pocket, but against the coins jingling in your purse. A loaf of bread costs 9 or 11p, depending on the bakery. A pint of milk is 5p, eggs about 25p a dozen, and a pound of butter sits at 17p. The numbers are small, but they matter. The average weekly wage is £32, and the full week's groceries for a family, milk, bread, eggs, tea, sugar, a few tins, maybe meat for Sunday, cost between £5 and £8. That is up to a quarter of the household's income, handed over in coins and notes, counted carefully at the counter. Decimalisation is still fresh. Just last year, the old shillings and pence disappeared, replaced by new coins, 1p and 2p copper coins, 5p and 10p silver coins, and the broad 50p piece. But the change is not only in the till, it is in people's heads. Shoppers pause at the counter, doing quick sums, sometimes fumbling with a conversion chart tucked in a purse or pinned behind the till. There are stories of confusion, a shopper arguing that 2 shillings and 6p cannot possibly be 12.5p, or a milkman counting the wrong change on a frosty morning. Decimal coins feel strange, lighter, almost too new to trust. But they are now the language of every transaction. Cash is the only way to pay. There are no cards, no credit slips, no checks for groceries. The act of handing over coins is deliberate. Each penny is a choice. The sound of coins on the counter, the cashier's fingers sorting through coppers and silvers, and the slow counting back of change are rituals as much as necessities. Shoppers keep a running total in their heads, sometimes out loud, sometimes silently, making sure the week's shop does not run ahead of the week's wage. Children learn to add up the cost of sweets or a bottle of pop, clutching a few pence in their fists, feeling the real value of every treat. The prices on the shelves are not suggestions. They are boundaries. A tin of Heinz beans at 9p, a packet of tea at 13 pence, sugar at 11 pence for £2, a whole chicken for 55 or 60 pence. Some families keep old coins in a jar just in case, but most have made the switch. Decimalisation is a fact of life, even if the memory of shillings lingers. And because every coin is counted, every purchase is considered. The weekly shop is not just about filling cupboards, it is about making the money last. The rhythm of the shop, the weight of the bag, and the feel of coins in your hand tie the act of shopping directly to the work that earned it and to the meals that will come from it. At the end of every shop, everything funnels toward a single moment, the checkout. Here the routine slows and the world narrows to a small counter, a till operator, and the coins in your hand. There is no beep of a barcode. Barcodes will not arrive until 1979. Instead, each item is lifted, the price is called out, and the keys of a mechanical till are pressed one by one. The drawer springs open with a clack, coins are counted, and the total is spoken aloud. Sometimes it is a familiar voice saying, "That'll be £2 and 17 pence, love." The till operator is not just a cashier, she is a fixture in the week, a neighbour, a gentle judge of thrift, a quick wit who knows who likes their change in silvers and who prefers coppers. She handles the new decimal coins with practiced fingers, though even now, a year after decimalisation, there is the occasional pause. A shopper fumbles, double-checks a conversion chart, or hesitates over a 10-pence piece that still feels like a florin. Behind them, a queue forms, but no one pushes. Instead, there is a quiet patience, a sense that this ritual belongs to everyone. Bags are packed slowly, sometimes by the operator, sometimes by the shopper. There is no plastic carrier, just the old string bag stretched by tins and glass bottles, or a sturdy basket, heavy with the week's meals. Each item is counted, each penny matters. The act of paying is deliberate. Coins pass from hand to hand, and the weight of the money is felt, real and undeniable. There is no card, no credit, no deferred payment. The week's shop is settled here and now, in the open, with no screen to hide behind. As the last bag is lifted, the world outside is already changing. The clock nears closing time. Under the Shops Act, the shutters will soon come down, 5:30 in the evening on weekdays, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturdays, and closed all day Sunday. The law is absolute. There is no late-night dash, no chance to slip in after hours. Shopkeepers sweep the floor, ring up the last customers, and pull down the metal grills. The tills are emptied, the lights go off, and the shop is sealed until the next day. Shopping has a hard edge, a finish line you cannot cross. That boundary shapes everything. It draws a line between the world of errands and the world of home. When the doors close, the week is set. Meals are planned, leftovers are stretched, nothing is wasted. If you forgot something, you make do. There is no delivery van to save you, no app to fill the gap. The rhythm is enforced by law, by habit, by the slow tick of the clock. And in that pause, when the shop is dark and the street is quiet, life regains a kind of calm that is hard to find in a world where shopping never truly ends. Today, shopping never really stops. Apps and supermarkets are open 24/7, and the average UK household throws away £700 of food each year. The boundaries that once protected our time and habits are gone, replaced by constant choice and impulse. What we gained in convenience, we pay for in attention and waste. The quiet pause of 1972 reminds us, sometimes, stopping is the most radical act. Share your thoughts below.